Well, hello. Welcome back. We're doing another glitter and lasers video because you guys like it. My lymphedema diagnosis and surgery plans. This is a retro, if anybody was wondering. We are jumping into her health arc because why not? No one else is doing anything. It's a retro reacts at this house. Anyway, let's start.
I see hate through the pain. I see light in the rain. Dreams of brighter days. Tell me what
LA?
you're thinking.
I lived there for 3 years.
I have hope in my spirit, flames of love in my heart. Baby, let me tell you something.
Yeah, I know. We got it, girl.
So today we are headed to the Roxbury to do my pre-op assessment.
The Roxbury.
I feel excited. I had a great night's sleep yesterday after like days and days of not sleeping. So I feel as best I could possibly feel going into the surgery, which is great, honestly. So now I'm just excited to get through this, get to the other side, and understand really what post-surgery is going to mean for my body, because you don't know until you know. So we're here, and I know the day can only go up from where it started, because right now my stupid thong is so far up my butt that I'm incredibly uncomfortable. How do you
talking about this? I swear, my theory, allegedly for entertainment purposes only, is that all these ghouls in girl world do fetish content, and their YouTubes and other media that we see is kind of invitation if you want to do that stuff. I don't know why my voice is doing that. And that's why she wears the super tight clothes and she's talking about a thong, because I think that most of these girls, to truly make money that's a little more steady than YouTube, because if you think about it, YouTube, yes, you make money, but it's not as steady as other things, like let's say fetish content. They have to go out and find fetish content to bring in the big bucks and a more steadier list of clientele, if you know what I'm saying. So I think that's why she sometimes, what am I saying? That's why she wears such tight clothing and talks about things like her thong. Continue.
people wear these? How do people wear thongs?
Of misery and pain, I'm no longer the one you knew.
You could have just not worn it on her, but oh, that would have been another thing.
Realized you're not in control. Once again, tell you once again. Hallelujah, I'm on my way to
As part of my process, in order to be able to best talk about this condition, I wanted to make sure I was working with a doctor because, as I like to say, I am not a doctor. Hashtag not a doctor. And the best medical advice should come from a doctor. So in order to do that, I was able to partner with ALT and be able to actually talk about this from a doctor's perspective. So what we're doing right now is just doing my testimonial for that doctor, Dr. Amran, and then and Dr. Ruth.
Are you kidding me, girl? Is this? Why am I not surprised? I also forget how good quality her stuff is compared to like Amber and Chantel. Like Chantel, I mean, the both of them, Chantel and Amber should be doing this kind of quality of video. Right? Because they have so much money. So I'm always like, every time I watch Glitter and Lasers, I'm like, oh yeah, she actually and like takes the time to make decent videos. Oh boy.
My plastics. And then we're going to get into the nitty-gritty of the actual
Nitty-gritty.
pre-op work. Hello.
How are you? Good to see you again.
To see you.
How was your trip in?
Rough.
Rough. Why?
We had just like tons of flight delays, and then the baggage kind of broke. It was a whole thing, but we are here now.
So let me talk about lipedema. Lipedema is a fat storage condition that's very under-recognized around the world. Identified way back in 1940 at the Mayo Clinic, but just pretty much ignored and forgotten about. We all never learned about it in medical school. Most people don't know about it. Unfortunately, most doctors still don't know about it, although things are beginning to change. It always does get worse throughout a person's
people are getting
lifetime.
fatter.
It's usually a slow process, but many times this increases in activity with hormonal changes of puberty, pregnancy, menopause, or other hormonal changes. The big problem
Obesity.
is patients with lipedema are simply misdiagnosed as being overweight or obese based on BMI indexes, which are really not a good way of looking at lipedema. And they try everything, and they just don't really lose weight. Many times they'll have eating disorders that develop at a young age.
But I will say this, but doctor, I get your semantics. The issue is when you get lymphedema, you can't do nothing about it, right? So that's the
They
point.
struggle so much, shame to blame, and all that stuff. You know, when I look at somebody's body, lipedema or not, I want to understand their body from a standpoint of overall balance proportion. I think one of the mistakes that many surgeons do, just liposuction, is like, so what do you want to do? And, the patient just kind of shows them the area and says, okay, let's do liposuction. But you want to really understand a person's body completely, to understand where they are out of proportion.
I just want to pause it and say that every time I see a plastic surgeon or surgery doctor, I always feel like they're selling me a car. I always feel like they're such a used car salesman. I mean, obviously, they, cosmetic surgeries and specialty doctors aren't critical in the world. They're not not saying they're not important, but they're not like the top priority in the world. Like, these are people who most likely their patients have to have some sort of income, high income coming in, because most insurance won't pay for these surgeries. So I get that that's why they always sound like used car salesmen to me, because it's just like anytime, even when I watch Botch and they're explaining things on what they need, I always feel like Dr. DeBro always sounds like he's selling me a car. Like, oh, this is the reason why you want this luxury vehicle, because of this, and this. My real life doctor doesn't sound like this. Dr. Crystal does not sound like this. She is a lovely, lovely woman. And every time I see her, I get so excited. It's the first time I actually like my doctor. Dr. Crystal, you're the best.
In balance. Okay, so Anna is overweight, but she's also
morbidly
disproportionate.
no overweight. I'm overweight. This person is supersized, morbidly obese. Sorry. Like, I can see Anna being like 400 pounds, but I can see Amber and Foodie being like 600 pounds. Like, she is not. Maybe it's because she's so tall that it kind of distributes more. But she is not over. Every time I hear the word overweight, I'm thinking chubby. This is obese. This is a woman who's obese.
And even just looking at things, she's disproportionate in characteristic patterns that are about lipedema and how it's involved. So, as I stand back and look at her, you start to understand her body. There's
Look at her.
more
She's loving
increased fullness. The thigh unit, the hip unit, less so in the calves and ankles. Her torso is full, and her arms are getting full. So
It's wild. It's wild how her body is, because I'm looking at her like bottom half of her legs, and those are wow, that's normal. But then you go up, and that's where the lymphedema is. It's wild. I mean, she has cankles, but like for the most part, her she would just be like, if she was a lot smaller, obviously she'd be a little bit of a thick girl, but she, like, the bottom part of her leg tells you exactly how she would look like in terms of her legs. She would have like thick but strong legs, as she worked on it. And obviously lymphedema, morphs her body into something else.
in what we begin to see with lipedema. And she has more of this triangulated pattern of lipedema. So it's not this column-like pattern that is type 3, it's more of a type 2 pattern where the predominance is from her knees all the way
type
up
2 now,
to her groin and her hip area, and now secondarily her calves and ankles are beginning to get involved. So I can just ask her when it began, or when she was 18 or 20, were her calves and ankles very full, and probably the answer was exactly no.
That's like maybe last 3-4 years.
Right, because of type 2, it will begin from the knee up, and then the calves and ankles begin to get secondarily involved with it. So it's just, you
Interesting.
begin to understand this condition in terms of how it presents and progresses.
Interesting. I love that. I love listening to medical jargon, but is this whole video about him talking about medical jargon? Let's get to somewhere else.
Doing this is going to help a lot of
Oh,
people, but I
God.
also know it's going to bring me a lot.
Be prepared for her to cry. I always forget she cries so much, and she makes that ugly Kim Kardashian face. Let me prepare myself. Okay, let's go.
Of hate.
To use hateful words on the internet against Anna or people like Anna, it's really not understanding things completely. Just to go and say, oh, you're not doing this, you should be doing this with it. So really, I
is that
don't like
hateful?
that.
Can I hug you?
Okay, stop hugging men. It's so creepy. I don't think people are doing that, doctor. I don't know what this one has fed you. I think a lot of people are actually concerned for her, and they feel like she's not telling the whole and complete truth. Surprise, surprise, a low cow not telling the truth. I think that no one's being, if people are being hateful, that's, you know, I think, I don't know. I try not to be hateful. I mean, her crying drives me bananas. She does that cry. I'm like, stop crying. And then I feel like she tries to mislead her audience, and that makes me kind of upset. But I don't think purposely people are being hateful. I don't think people see her and they're like, oh my God, I'm going to be mean to this bitch. Like, for me personally, I feel like her lack of truth and her crying put me in a state of like, stop it, you know? And I feel like sometimes people will express themselves. She's probably expressing herself towards her doctor like, people are just mean to me on their internet. And it's like, no, bitch, have you told them the rest of the truth? Maybe stop fucking crying. So for me, what he just said was completely incorrect. But anyway.
Great guy and does amazing work with things. Understands lymphedema very well, and lymphedema when he was with Stanford. He did a lot of lymphedema surgery with things. So he does amazing work with it. Anna's a wonderful woman and a patient with more advanced lymphedema, probably earlier stage 4 lymphedema with some lipolymphedema going on with it. We work together to put together a plan in terms of how things are approached, orders of things, intervals of things.
I apologize if this video is boring and I'm not interjecting as much. I find medical data, medical information really fascinating. As a kid, I wanted to be a cardiologist. Unfortunately, I ended up being an artist. Same thing. It's from the heart. So I do apologize if I'm not talking a lot. I just want to hear what he's talking about and maybe interject here and there, but I just find it so fascinating because I really don't know a damn thing about lymphedema besides what she's told us and what I've done my googly, on the internet. So, yeah, I find it fascinating. But you guys let me know what you think of it.
When things are done together, when things are done separately. Another very important thing to understand, lifting patients to approach things properly and safely. You know, the need for doing it cosmetically versus treating a disease. And with lifting patients, it is both. You've got both things going on, and you really, in every patient, want to get the best functional improvement of the disease and prevention of it, and at the same time, the best cosmetic improvement in every patient. They really got to go hand in hand. You know, she rightfully...
In other words, if you're poor, or you're regular schmegular like me, this isn't for you. This is for people with deep pockets. This is cosmetic and it's medical, right? I said this in my other video. Any regular schmegular Joe is not going to get lymphedema sucked out of their body. I mean, it's lipo, it's cosmetic. They'll probably be like, throw them some compression socks and call it a day. Like, all right, here you go. Good luck with that, So it's interesting to see the process for someone who is more what's the word for her? and I mean, I want to say entitled, 'cause she is entitled, but she has the capability and the resources to get things done that maybe a lot of us won't be able to if we were in this position. So it's very interesting to me, because I don't think I have, like, if I got to this point, I don't think I would have the money, you know, point blank period. Someone would just throw some compression socks and was like, what? Let's hope you survive, you know? It's so interesting.
So said her main goal is the disease treatment and prevention of it and setting things back.
Is
It's
it
affecting her.
though?
And absolutely, but she will also
Is it
get the best
though?
cosmetic improvement also. Many stage 1 or stage 2 patients, they may not care as much about the disease itself.
What is she
and
doing
not
over
as
here?
much
She's
pain.
flirting with the
They just
guy?
want to
I mean,
push from
he's
a
cute.
cosmetic standpoint, and that's fine. But you really want to nail both of them, and they actually go hand in hand.
And you've never had surgery?
Oh, look at her. Look at her. She's enjoying that. She's enjoying him touching her. She's like, yeah, touch me, daddy. Look, you come here for the sassy comments. It's in my name, okay? Okay? I have a sassy quota. And there you go. It's sassy. Oh, yeah, daddy, touch me there.
Before.
No.
Okay. So you definitely have lipedema involvement in the forearms, and there is some
Jesus,
laxity here.
in your
The main
forearms?
thing is that because of how heavy this is, you know,
Yeah.
it's really going to kind of end up like this, but
See,
smaller.
here's the thing. If this was anybody else and they like squished or whatever she just did, I would feel for them, because I'm like, this must hurt so much. But it's her, Miss Crybaby Cry, and I kind of just like, I'm gonna stop.
But this amount of pain is all going to kind of go away. This is going to be smaller.
If you see me wincing, guys, or if I'm making faces
Wincing.
just because it hurts a little bit, I'm okay. I'm not wincing at the doctors. It's just, the thing is, being
Don't
touched
touch me.
in places that hurt is sometimes hard.
And that's not uncommon in lipedema patients, that they have pain here. And so we're trying to alleviate that.
That
So
sucks.
sorry to press. Just
It's
by
okay.
removing some of that hang. The problem is there's so much laxity here that if we just
It just seems like it's so uncomfortable. Like, it's just like I don't even, like, as much as I want to clown on Anna, this just seems like I'm more like annoyed at her for the crying at this point. I'm more annoyed at her for not talking about the physical pain she's been going through for a while sooner. I always see it as her getting her bag and not like being like, look, I'm doing life. I'm at a big size, nothing can touch me. Health in every size, hashtag. I wish she would have conveyed this sooner, because I'm sure she's been going through this for like a hot minute. And I'm sure the reason why she hasn't is because what I just said, that she got in her bag, and there's a lot of, fat acceptance people who don't want to hear it, don't want to hear that being fat can be unhealthy, that being fat can be hurtful, and it can harm you, and, ultimately lead to death. There's a lot of people who don't want to hear it. People are living in delusion about the fat acceptance movement. I was once in that movement, and I could tell you that I was just like, I don't understand why people are so weird about this. Somebody's going to their doctor, and the doctor's telling them they're fat. After hindsight is 2020 or whatever that term is, because even I, going to the doctor, I recognize that going back and thinking about it, I never had a doctor say, oh, you should, this happened because you were fat. So I'm really confused. Or like say, hey, you know what, this would be better if you lost some weight. I have never had a doctor say that to me, actually. So whenever I heard people say that, it just kind of seeped into my brain. And I would go into the doctor and I'm like, I know I'm fat, and I need to lose weight. And I would feel that, I was already prepared. Without anybody even saying it. Like, well, I didn't even say that, dude. Like, what are you talking about? Like, I think that I'm a little disappointed in Anna for not coming forward sooner. and like I said, it's very manipulative to take an audience of people who follow you and respect you and look up to you, make your bag, and then come out a couple of years later and be like, yeah, actually, I'm in a lot of pain. Being fat sucks. But that's how the world works, and that's why she's a low-cal.
Try to isolate the removal here, you would likely end up with some bulges in other places. So we're going to extend that on and remove some of the fullness in your forearm as well. So it'll travel
wow.
usually not up to the wrists because people don't have much laxity here, but somewhere around this area. And then as far as the inner thighs go, so outer thigh lifts, you know, there's a variety of things. You know, there is a type of lift that puts a scar straight up in this rubbing,
So gross. It's true.
this rubbing area is going to get reduced. So when I take all that away, we're going to create, you know, basically what I call airspace. We're going to create more space between the inner thighs.
Thigh gap. Thigh gap.
So now we are taking photos so we can see how my body looks before and after the various.
Okay. Before and after.
I mean,
What is that outfit exactly? Okay, we'll stop here. Yeah, I think the whole process is really interesting. Like I've said before, I am a little disappointed in her. But I'm glad. I will end on a positive note. I am glad that she's taking care of her health and she's, you know, trying to take care of this. A lot of you have mentioned that she doesn't follow through with diet and exercise, which is a disappointment to me, because if you're going to spend all this damn money on doing all this lipo, you better follow through with the rest of it. But that is foreshadowing for the future. When I first saw her, I kind of didn't realize what her spiel was, and I was like, oh, she's not that terrible. And you guys were so funny about it. You guys were like, no, you really need to look into her. She's pretty fucking terrible like the rest of them. She's just terrible on another level. You know, because Amber and Chantel are at the bottom. They're like white trash. You know, excuse me, sorry. Anna's not that. She's more affluent. I'm saying it wrong, I know it. So it's a very interesting dichotomy to see her and then see like Chantel and then see like Amber, you know? Because all three of them are different in their own way, but very much the same, because they do the same lying, they do the same crying when they need to, you know. It's wild. It's wild. E-begging without e-begging, you know. Oh man. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave a comment. And until next time, stay sassy.